My fellow Americans, my name is George Dobson, and I'm running for the Democratic nomination for the President of the United States in 2020. I'm a veteran of the Vietnam War and also a 9/11 EMT survivor. So I'm fully aware of all the hardships that our veterans from any conflict and other 9/11 survivors endure. I'm an average citizen that's in the same economic, financial, and social group as the majority of the citizens of our great nation, mainly senior citizens, the disabled, veterans, low-income and middle-class income working families. I'm tired of having billionaires and millionaires tell us that they know what we're going through. The fact is, they have no idea what we're going through or what we need. I'm not a career politician, or a millionaire or a billionaire or some CEO, so I don't and won't ever cater to special interest groups, lobbyists, or big business, unless it's in the best interest of our nation and the citizens benefit from it. I will fight and stand up against whoever it may be or how hard it may be for a substantial increase in minimum wage. Also, funding for substantial increases in Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, VA, HUD, Planned Parenthood, education and training, school lunch programs, food assistance programs, and after-school programs, and all the rest that are in drastic need of help. I'll fight for universal health care for our citizens that qualify, mainly those on Social Security, disability, the low-income and middle-income class families. Also, free college tuition for graduating high school students who graduate with a C+ average and who come from families who earn $75,000 or less a year. It's time that the government works for the people, not the people working for the government. It's time that the rich and the big corporations pay their fair share of the taxes instead of riding high off the backs of the blue-collar workers. I'll also fight corruption in government, and anyone involved in corruption will be held accountable and responsible for their actions. I will make the drastic changes needed that 2 out of every household don't have to work to make ends meet. I will obtain the funding through a plan that I have, and I will obtain this funding for these programs and all the rest that the Trump administration has drastically cut. My foreign policy is simple. I'll bring us back to our allies in the EU, NATO, and the UN, G7 and G20. I will also bring our nation back from being the laughingstock of the world to being a world leader once again. I'll also bring us back to the Paris Clean Air Accord and place strict regulations on manufacturers and corporations to filter the toxins from their exhaust. The Trump administration and Scott Pruitt allowed them to do this, but no longer will this happen because it's the atmosphere of our planet that controls the environment, and it's the air we breathe. I will stand up against any foreign government that caters to tyranny. And no matter who it is, any country who opposes basic human and civil rights will suffer strict penalties, sanctions, and no dealings with the U.S. whatsoever. Any country caught dealing with the sanctioned country, selling American goods or military hardware, will suffer the same penalties. I'll bring this, together we can make this government begin to work for the people as it should. And I will work my hardest to make this a government, like President Lincoln said, of the people, by the people, and most importantly, for the people. Together, we can fight corruption in the government and hold those involved accountable. So I'm asking you for your help, not only to pass my message along or to vote for me in November, but also your contributions are needed. Anything that you can afford would be greatly appreciated. Unfortunately, campaigns run on funding, and funding is what we need to see this through. So with your vote and your contribution, we can make this country better for all. I truly believe we can win this, not only the nomination, but also the presidency of the United States, and make our great nation better for all in the process. So please contribute. Whatever you can afford, it will be greatly appreciated. And remember, I will fight to make things right. Now, I wasn't going to criticize Mr. Trump except for the statements and facts that I presented earlier in my speech. But with what he did this past few weeks is too unbelievable to ignore. First, he stated to the world his plan to pull our troops from Syria and Afghanistan against the advice of his Secretary of Defense, his generals, his cabinet, and his advisors. When he made this statement, the only people that were happy about his decision were Putin, the Saudi prince, King Assad, the Ayatollah, and the Taliban. If he follows through, it will open the door for ISIS to regroup and recruit. With this act, Trump will abandon our allies in the Middle East and leave them under the control of dictators, tyrants, terrorists, and killers. If he follows through with this, let us pray that we don't have another 9/11 type attack soon after. Now, onto the food stamp program. With one fell swoop of his pen, he knocked 38 more million people off of the lines. These are people that are in drastic need of this help to succeed. But instead, he took people off. Now imagine you're a single parent with 2 small children in elementary school. You walk them to school, or you drive them, or you walk them to the bus stop to make sure they get to school safely. And then you have to be there to pick them up and make sure that they get home safely. You can't afford a babysitter, or you can't afford daycare. So that leaves you about 4 hours a day, 4 days a week. Because remember, 1 day a week the children get out early. So that leaves you between 16 and 18 hours to work a week. Unfortunately, you don't qualify for food assistance no longer because you don't meet the 20-hour required minimum. His hit to the food stamp assistance has knocked 38 more million people off the lines. So who do you turn to for help? Where do you go? How much more of this are we going to take? My plan to fund this and other programs to give our people the leg up to succeed. And that's something we need and we deserve. More funding for after-school programs to give parents the opportunity to seek full or part-time employment, education, and or training. However, public assistance is a help. It's not a career. With that being said, there be strict limitations and expirations placed on certain benefits, still allowing time for the parents to seek the opportunity for full or part-time full or part-time employment, or the opportunity for tuition-free enrollment into a 2-year college or accredited tech school of their choice. If a C+ average is maintained throughout the educational experience, now you qualify for tuition-free enrollment into a 4-year college or university of your choice to obtain your bachelor's degree. After your education experience is complete, or you just didn't participate in the program, you have 1 year of full benefit. After that, cash is cut. Food stamps or food assistance and Medicaid will continue for the children until age 16. So if you haven't found a job in a year or 2, that's on you. Public assistance is a help and an opportunity for you to succeed in life. It's not a way of life. And Mr. Trump showed his true nature and just how much he cares about the working citizens when he shut down the government. If anyone has a different take on this, I refer you to the video of the meeting in the Oval Office between Mr. Trump, Chuck Schumer, and Nancy Pelosi. This is when Mr. Trump said, "If I don't get what I want, one way or another, I will shut down the government. I will be proud to shut it down," is what he said. So what if approximately 500,000 people are out of work and approximately another 400,000 working without pay? As long as Mr. Trump gets what he wants, that's all he cares about. Well, Mr. Trump, this is real life. And in real life, we don't always get what we want, and it's time you realize that. In my opinion, this is all a diversion from the real issues, like the 17 investigations into Trump world, and his defrauding of the Trump Foundation and his collusion with Russians in the 2016 election. We need someone who will fight and stand up for the people, and I'm that someone. I promise you, you will have a government that is for the people, giving you the benefits and freedoms that all of us should enjoy. The freedom of choice, allowing you the right to make decisions that affect you, and also the freedom of speech and all the other freedoms that are guaranteed in the Bill of Rights. It's time we do make a difference. I will fight to make things right, and I promise I will support the people of our great nation with everything I promised and the benefits that I promised earlier. So if you can, please contribute to my campaign so we can continue this fight to the White House. Thank you.